Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to read a press release here from the Grays. That's John Gray. That's the family that's having the trouble with our law enforcement officers here in Texas. They're out in East Texas near the town of Trinidad. And there have been a lot of rumors floating around back and forth, a lot of things said about them. And so they released on Friday, or I'm sorry, this is Saturday, the 19th of August. They issued a press release to basically clear up the rumors. So I'm going to read this verbatim, their press release. It says, press release, statement of facts. In order to clear up misinformation surrounding the Gray family, we have chosen to release a statement of pertinent information regarding and in relation to the current circumstances. The following statement is true to the best of my knowledge. Number one, arrest warrant for John Joe Gray. According to the information we have, Joe has a warrant issued for him for the charges of disarming a police officer and assault on a police officer. The circumstances surrounding this are as follows. On December 24th, 1999, an individual with whom we were acquainted, named Curtis Harton, arrived at our house near Trinidad, Texas, and suggested we take a ride to Palestine to look at a cabin which Joe had built for a friend. When asked if he were going to carry a gun, Joe replied he thought it wasn't such a good idea as he thought the police were watching closely. When Curtis said he was going to carry and suggested Joe do the same, Joe agreed to do so. Other guns in the car belonged to Curtis. During the trip, Curtis, driving, continued to exceed the speed limit, and Joe cautioned him about it. Curtis insisted he had the latest anti-radar gear. As they approached Palestine, Curtis sped past a DPS car with two officers inside. The officers turned around, followed, and stopped the vehicle in which Joe was a passenger. After being told to get out, Curtis quickly exited the vehicle and said to Joe, "Sorry, Joe." The other officer went around to Joe's side, opened the door, and asked Joe if he was armed. Joe sat there calmly and replied that he was. After the officer asked Joe if he had a concealed carry permit, Joe replied he didn't need one. It was his God-given right and confirmed by the Constitution. The officer shouted that it was not a right, drew his pistol, aimed it at Joe, and screamed for Joe to get out of the car. As Joe reached up to move the automatic seatbelt so he could exit, the officer started shouting, "He's going for his gun! He's going for his gun!" Joe calmly replied he wasn't going for his gun and sat back down with his feet on the ground as the officer continued to shout. The other officer at this time jumped in the back seat, grabbed Joe's right arm, and handcuffed it. As the officer started pulling on Joe's arm and trying to get his other arm, Joe pushed back against the officer. At some point, Joe was hit in the side of the head by one of the officers, and following that, both of them ended up on the grass with the officer's arm around Joe's head and face. At that moment, Joe bit down. The officer started yelling, and the other officer started spraying Joe with pepper spray. Joe then quit biting the officer. After first aid from an EMT who had arrived, Joe was taken to the county jail in Palestine. Joe remained in the Palestine jail for 2 weeks without any charges being filed. During the time he was in the jail, they attempted to inject Joe with a white fluid in a needle and syringe Joe described as a size intended for large livestock, saying it was a TB test. Joe refused and was kept in solitary confinement much of the time. Joe was not allowed any phone calls for the first 3 days. After 2 weeks, during which I paid my locally obtained attorney $1,000 to file a writ, Joe had a hearing which he assumed was related to the writ. No writ was ever filed. The hearing was a bond reduction hearing. Originally, Joe's bond was set at $300,000, and despite not being charged with anything, after Joe's bond was reduced to $52,000, again no charges. We used a rent house we owned as collateral and bonded Joe out. Some of the conditions of the release imposed by the judge included not being on any property with a firearm, nor could he own any interest in any property on which firearms might be carried. Furthermore, he was to report to a probation officer weekly in Athens, despite not being charged with anything. Joe came back to Trinidad and hasn't left. Circumstances lead us to believe the bondsman was interested in the property used for collateral. We later found out Joe's attorney, who did not file a writ as he was paid to do, we have a receipt, was closely related to the prosecuting attorney. We have been told there was a grand jury hearing in May. We weren't notified. From this grand jury came the charges, I assume. Point number 2, custody of children. This question is simple. While driving through town on our daughter's birthday, she and her husband Keith were stopped by the police, where it was discovered that Keith had 3 unpaid traffic tickets and a subsequent arrest warrant. When they were taken in, although stating her name, Lisa chose not to reveal her date of birth. In any case, it was her husband, not her, who was arrested. Lisa was held in jail for failure to identify. When Keith got out, he was supposed to get her out but failed to do so. When she finally got out, they came to our house, at which time Keith left again. After 2 weeks, Keith filed for divorce. During the child custody hearing, Lisa, having no faith in the courts, chose not to attend. She has never been served any papers related to the custody of the children. Point number 3. Other contributing factors include Joe's distribution of constitutional information to local judges and police departments and sheriff's departments. None seem to have any interest in real law. By their very actions, they are outlaws and outside the law. So I guess we're known as some of those weird people who still believe in the Constitution as well as the Bible. God's Word is the sole guide for our family. We are not members of the Kingdom of Heaven Church. We believe in God's Word as it is written. We also believe the Constitution is the law of the land as it says, and we believe and will follow it as it is written and as our founders wrote and intended it to be. Our faith in God is strong and unbending, and our resolve is without compromise. May God bless you and be merciful to you according to His will. Alicia Nell Gray.
What about the other part, Ed?
There's an addendum to this, and this part says, this is, well, I'm not sure exactly if this is Alicia Gray. I believe it is. But anyway, it says, many thanks to Alex Jones for driving over 500 miles in the middle of the night to expose an impending federal raid on the Gray family farm. For all those who don't believe the feds were involved, you need to listen to this report. We should all be thankful that we have a patriot willing to go the extra mile for freedom.
Okay, Ed, before we take calls and get into the tape about what happened down there in East Texas, can you tell us about who the people are that own this camera? We're going to back this tape up here and show this camera again. Can you tell us what happened today when you called the number on the camera that was smashed out there in East Texas?
Well, Mike, you had given me that information that you had called the number that was on the camera, and that these people answer the phone just saying task force, but wouldn't identify what task force they were with or if they were actually a law enforcement agency. So I followed up on that, and I called them, and I got the same response. They just answered task force. And when I asked them what agency they were with, the lady that answered the phone passed me on to a man. And the man, all he would say is that they were called themselves task force. He would not say what agency they were with. He would not tell me where his authority derived from. I told him that I was concerned that that phone number was out there in the public, that it was found on a piece of equipment out in East Texas, and that when we call this number, people answer saying task force, and it's apparently the implication is that it's some sort of law enforcement agency. And I told him it's of great concern that they were not identifying what agency they were. So he told me to write to a particular P.O. box.
Okay, Ed, let me stop you there. Is it the same P.O. box the guy gave you on the phone today as what's fixing to be shown on this tape?
That's absolutely right.
Can you verify that when it comes up on the film here that it's the same address you have on that piece of paper right there? It's going to come up in just a few minutes here. That's, by the way, folks, that's Joe Gray and his wife. That's the grandparents of some of the kids they're saying are being held hostage. Is that true, Ed?
Right. Yeah, now this address, he gave it to me on the phone. I had not seen any of the video that y'all shot out there, so I did not know anything about it, phone numbers or addresses that were on the camera other than the phone number that you told me about. But he gave me this address for the core team, P.O. Box 340060, Austin 78734. And he said if I wrote to this address and sent in Freedom of Information Act forms, that they might respond and tell me what agency they were with. So, you have to file Freedom of Information Act to find out if these people are real cops.
Well, here we go, Ed. This is the address and the phone number that was on this piece of equipment. Let me take this number down. There it is. Let me steal that for the folks here, see if I can steal it. Well, let me back that up just a little bit, Ed. Steal that for them. Right here. Right there. Is that the same?
Yeah, that's
address?
the P.O. box. Now on the camera it says covert operations, but what the man told me is that the address I should write to the organization was called Core Team.
Well, I thought we didn't have any secret police in this.
Well, that's what I kept telling him, because he kept wanting me to identify myself, and I said, I think we got it backwards here. You're the one whose phone number's out there. You're the one pretending to be a police agency. I want to know what agency you're with, if any. And I said, if you're a private business, then it's fine. Just tell me you're private, and that's it. You don't have to say anything more. But if you're a governmental agency, you need to tell me who you're with. He continued to refuse. So then he started getting into this game about, well, if asking me who I was, I kept insisting that he identify himself. Had he done so, of course, I would have had no problem telling him who I was, but I resent the fact that you call a law enforcement agency and the first thing they want to know is who you are. The secret police.
Well, according to the governor's office, and I did call today, if they're taking city, state, or Fed money, they're supposed to identify who they're with when they answer the phone if you ask them to.
Right. So, but he kept asking me who I was, and finally he said, well, if you're not going to tell me who you are, then this phone call never happened. And he repeated that about 4 or 5 times as I continued to press him to find out what agency he was with. And finally, in the end, it was kind of funny, because he told me one last time, well, if you're not going to tell me who you are, if you're refusing to identify yourself, then as far as I'm concerned, this telephone call never happened. And so I told him, well, it doesn't really matter what you think. What really matters is what I think. And with that, he hung up on me. The point is that these people work for us. They take our tax money. We work hard. We pay our taxes. And that's what these people are arrogant enough to think that they're above the law, that the law tells them that they must identify themselves. They refuse to do so. So it is actually more important what we, the public, think about them than what they think about us.
Well, they don't even follow their own laws. According to some of their laws, if we leave our keys in the car at 7-Eleven, they will give us a ticket if it's stolen. Now, why is the agency leaving this expensive equipment out in the middle of East Texas somewhere, and the next day it's smashed by cows or something? We're not really sure how it got smashed, Ed, because
Well, it looked like it was on a tripod out there, Mike, and I really don't know where the feds put this thing, but if they have it sitting out there and you have deer and everything else running around out there, you know, give me a break. I mean, you don't put an expensive camera on a tripod out there in the middle of nowhere.
How much was that camera worth, Mike?
Well, I've had reports from 20 to 40,000. I'm not sure. You know, I've had calls from 20 to 40,000. I know that Alex bought a camera and it was like 6,500 thousand, and that's, you know, and it's not radio controlled like this one was, and had a battery pack.
Well, that was real bright, leaving it on a dark country road in the middle of the night where cattle come through regularly.
Well, that's right, and we're fixing to show the film. I think everybody, if you haven't saw this film, I think you're going to like it. We'll probably be playing it about 12:35, and I'm sure there's time for calls here. If you want to get in with a legitimate call, you're welcome. Well, if they see it, if they see the number, Ed, on the, I really don't want to give any numbers out, but if they see the number on the camera, that, you know, they're welcome to do what they want with it. What it is, folks, the number that's on the camera, if you call that number, what happens is it says it's out of order, and here's the new number, and it gives you an 830 number, a long-distance number.
Yeah, that's a Marble Falls exchange.
And they have this, I know they've been doing it for a long time, Ed. It all ties back to these white vehicles in Bastrop. They have these white Broncos pulling people over on 71 in between here and Marble Falls. Lance, we were actually stopped. I want you to tell that story. And we checked the license plates out on the white Bronco with the people in the fatigues that stopped us when we were on our way out to a work site one day. And it came up as a fictitious license plate in Waco, Texas on Tombstone Lane. Go ahead and tell that story when we were on our way with a crew out to Marble Falls to build a house.
Yeah, okay, that's been a while, but I remember it pretty good. We were going out to work on a house out in Marble Falls, and it wasn't real early in the morning, but it was still, I guess, mid-morning. What was it, Mike, 8:39 or something like that? We were getting out there kind of late.
But I mean, yeah, it's probably, I think it was more like 7. I think it was more like 7:30.
But it was light already.
Yeah, it was light.
Already. And
it was light.
Anyway, a white van got behind us at one point with no lights on top. If I remember right, I think they were in the grill when we finally saw them. A couple of guys were in the van. The first thing we noticed was a guy that appeared at the passenger side.
That's where
He didn't come to the driver's side. A guy in camouflage just showed up all of a sudden on the passenger side of the truck. And, of course, you can imagine how that made us feel. All of a sudden, this white van, and then here's this guy
in a military uniform.
Yeah, right. We're looking at each other like, what? And then all of a sudden, this guy on the left-hand side,
on my side of the door.
Yeah, on Mike's side, because Mike was driving a truck, and I was sitting kind of in the middle up front, and I think Scott was sitting next to me, and we had
Daryl in the back.
And this guy on the driver's side just yanks the door open and kind of
starts grabbing
the back seat.
He's for my stuff in the back seat, my tools and all kind of stuff.
He's shoving Mike forward in his seat trying to get, and Mike says, "Hey, what are you doing?" You know, and you can't. I didn't give you permission to get back there, and he.
Of course, I slammed the door on him.
He slammed the door shut, rolled the window up, and locked it. And we started. We gave him a quick breakdown on why they're not allowed to do that. And they didn't like it very much, but we didn't like it very much either.
But of course, they're doing it to old women out there and Cadillacs and stuff, and have all their stuff out.
But what they said, Mike, remember what they said? We were like, "Who are you guys?" And they had Border Patrol patches on. And,
yeah.
And they said,
I called Border Patrol, and they said they don't have any agents up in the hill country.
Yeah, and he says, "Well, we're looking for migrant workers." Well, that's not how you go about doing it. Besides that,
Oh, we're not looking for Mexicans. So we're looking for Canadians, Russians, and what was the other thing they're looking for?
Yugoslavians, Czechoslovakians. He goes, "You guys could be Canadians or Czechoslovakians." Oh, come on, man. Give me a break.
And this is the whole reason why they're pulling people over. Then we check the license plates out at DPS and pay. You have to pay money to do this, to check out the license plates. We went over there and checked this out, and it goes back to a fictitious license plate in Waco, Texas.
The street was even made up.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Tombstone Lane
Road was even made up.
Yeah, Tombstone. I looked it up. There's no Tombstone Road in Waco, Texas. It's a complete fraud, and these people are running around out here. I don't know what kind of who they're working for. Ed, did they tell you they were working for the governor's task force?
No, these people told me absolutely nothing. The sheriff's department in Burnett County, when I called them, they told me that this task force organization is run by Chief Whitaker of Marble Falls. And that, if you look at the stickers that you photographed
That's
on the
coming
camera,
up in the tape.
right? You'll see
We're
that
getting ready to show a tape.
yeah, on the tape. The stickers on the camera actually say that that is a property of the city of Marble Falls. Now I want to know what is a city police chief of Marble Falls doing running an operation that has surveillance equipment on private property out in East Texas, and this is. It boggles my mind. I really don't know what to say about it or what to make of it other than it's secret police type activity, and they must be using Marble Falls, the city police department there, or at least the chief, as some kind of a cover for this operation.
Well, the lines are full. Do you want to take a chance with the calls, Lance? Because
Yeah, I never screen
yeah,
calls.
we're not screening calls, folks, so
My
whatever you say is going on.
callers don't appreciate that. Let's go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Hello. I want to talk about Veteran Hale. You know, no videotape has been brought forth, and I doubt that it'll be brought forth during trial, whenever that actually happens.
How
Well,
come?
caller, they do have a tape of this man here on screen being beat up by a DPS officer, and he defended himself by biting the man in the thumb. And the judge said to the DPS, "You beat him up, not the other way around."
That's a judge.
That's
that said
exactly what happened there. And now he cannot leave his property.
Well, this Tool, Texas police incident took place last week, and apparently the SA, the San Antonio Express, and another mainstream news publication.
We have it right here, caller.
But let's see if NBC or MSNBC
Well, we
talk
have,
about the real details.
We have standoff continues amid attack rumors. Trinidad, Texas, by Jim Henderson of the Houston Chronicle. So if you can look that up somehow, it's a pretty good story. It's pretty balanced. It even has Alex at the end of it. Where is
Has
that?
any
at?
news come on
It
the
says
TV
Tuesday evening, Alex Jones, an Austin-based radio talk show host, told his audience that he had received word that federal agents have set up command posts outside Gray's property and were preparing to attack with armored vehicles.
I watched the whole, well, I didn't see the whole 5 hours, but I saw what Alex showed earlier this evening.
Well, we're fixing to show that again for people that did not see that.
Was that a live Alex Jones broadcast?
Yes.
on the show?
Yes.
Because I couldn't, there was no date on it. And
Yeah, it
I
was
didn't
live.
even know
Yes,
about
it
this.
was. The show at 5 o'clock and the show at 7:30 are all live. This show is live at 12 o'clock, but we're fixing to show the show from
Earlier,
earlier
7:30.
today at 7:30.
But I didn't even know, I missed Alex Jones last week, and that's probably why I didn't know about this incident. But when did it take place?
It took place, okay, he was on the air Tuesday at 4:30, and Miss Ritter called in and said that it's, it was underway. So we jumped in the car, in the truck, right after the show and went down there. We got down there about 11:30.
The first time I heard about it was through another TV host there, and it wasn't Alex Jones. It was someone that first, and it wasn't Ritter that I heard it from, but I heard that, it was Jeff Davis last Tuesday when I first heard
Jeff
about
Davis
it.
actually went down there.
And he was
this
talking
weekend.
about it.
We got to put something up. Okay, we got InfoWars up there. Sorry, caller, we're trying to get something up here.
Yeah, as far as Veteran Hale, if I can't see and I know those DPS have to have the high tech, have to have the priority. They're going to have that equipment. And it's funny, but I don't even think I'm going to even see what actually took place, which was recorded on the videotape, even during the trial.
Why don't you think
Why
we're going
are
to
we
be
not
able to
seeing
see
it?
that?
We want to know why
Look
we're
at the
not
yogurt
seeing
shop murders. Look at the so-called yogurt shop murders. Do you think you're ever going to see they didn't even hardly show the videotape of the cop. They try to claim that in the videotape the cop doesn't even point his gun, doesn't even take out his gun and point it at the person's head that he's interrogating, and his lawyer and his father were not allowed to see him. And I mean, to me, I can see corruption all around. I mean, obviously, if Lance Cook and Jeff Contreras and Captain Mike or Citizen Bill were able to get through the court system without needing to get a driver's license or being able to pass up tickets because they were illegally given to them, then to me that shows corruption right there.
It kind of seems like what they do is go on and step on your toes and then leave it up to you to fix it, and then if you don't, then it's your problem.
And y'all already proved that the law is corrupt by going to court and bringing forth this information. And this was a few months ago.
Right. This stuff goes on all the time. People get out of traffic tickets all the time. This should be nothing.
There's people being violated every single day out
I
here.
know, but it's
there's no doubt in my mind. But most people buckle under and do not have the time and the effort to go out here and go to these court systems. Believe
and they
me,
don't believe they'll be
when
listened to.
you're tied up in these court systems, you're tied up in these court systems. I can tell you that from a fact.
But the court didn't bring charges because obviously they knew that they were corrupt and they couldn't do anything, and they were working under a corrupt system. And as far as the Waco incident, this siege, I mean, even the Chronicle, I don't even like that rag, the Austin Chronicle, but I mean, sometimes they've had some pretty in-depth articles about all this. The latest one last week on Thursday comes out on Thursday. It said all this information about how the government was corrupt, how they took half of that door, the left door they kept in court, but they didn't really show much of. They just kept it to the side. But the right hand part of the door there, they kept half of the door where the incoming bullets had been fired into the compound. They just kept that out of the trial altogether, and just so many other information.
They also took the
lawyer was working for the government.
But Mike, they took the top of the church records vault too. They weren't able to find that to show that the blast demolition charge had been placed on top of the building. New Revelation, which just aired just before this show came on.
Lance, you've shown the most interesting. You and Bob Dacey have shown the most interesting, the most insightful footage on your shows. I don't even think I've seen anything that insightful on any of Alex Jones' shows, but he talks about it. Alex does talk about everything, and he has shown all the documentation, but I think it was Bob Dacey in your show that actually showed the most horrifying stuff that you just can't debate. You can't deny that.
Rules of Engagement's playing on ACTV. I just saw it tonight. So, I mean, it's out there.
I got the movie at the library, and I saw it, but Rules of Engagement is, for some... If that's the same one I'm talking about, it's just too. It's. I don't know. It doesn't get into as much graphic detail as what I've seen on Lance's show and on Bob Dacey.
Well, you just can't stress that point enough, though.
To the church and talk to the people yourself.
But you just can't stress it enough. Here's a film. Here's a man who developed a technology for this film, and he's showing you Branch Davidians being shot at with machine guns,
look at those
automatic
guys.
weapons.
One guy got a stroke, but he didn't die. Carlos Gigliotti died decomposing in his apartment. I mean, one guy got a stroke, almost died. One guy almost had a heart attack and almost died. And they were all experts. They were all saying that the flare footage shows that there was gunfire being fired from the government troops or whoever was in that video shooting into the compound.
Yeah, and then they had this phony vector data systems doing the analysis on behalf of the government.
But that guy has a government contract doing top secret, probably doing top. He's contracted by them. So I mean, obviously he's gonna stick up for them.
Right, and it's first of all they kept talking about it being a British company. The original Vector Data Systems was a British company, but it's now not only American owned, but their headquarters are just outside Washington, D.C., not far from the Pentagon.
Okay, yeah, we're talking about the British firm.
No, Antion Systems. They're the parent firm. Yeah, Antion Systems. They actually own Vector Data Systems, and they are an American company, American defense contractor, and they brag about having 4,000 employees in 70 government installations worldwide. They're totally a defense contractor. Anybody that works for them has to have top secret clearance from the U.S. government. Those people are anything but unbiased. And not only that, but they have got, in fact, the timing of these contracts was really interesting. They have got several large contracts. I mean, these are worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. They are non-competitive contracts. In other words, there's no bidding involved. Anyone in any department within the within the Justice Department, that we're talking IRS, we're talking BATF, and those organizations are named actually in the contracts. They must get all of their Oracle database software from and through Antion systems. Now, the timing of those contracts is interesting. The first contract was let several months after Waco Rules of Engagement was released, right about the time when the flare footage was first making a big impact on the public. Then the second contract was let on September 30th of 1999, which is just about 11 days after we started rebuilding the church, and right in the middle of new interest in the flare footage that was being talked about that they were going to put into the Waco New Revelation video. So they were lining these people up. They basically gave these people a retainer in case they needed to use flare experts for anything to debunk the real genuine experts out there. So again, I'm a software analyst. I know how much Oracle contracts are worth. It's a tremendous amount of money. So these people were bought and paid for to cover up, basically. And in fact, the Infraspection, their report, which was when was that? In May, I think, when Gordon Novell contacted them up there and got them to reevaluate the flare footage. And I saw the facts right as it came off of their machine up there in Waco at the Davidian Defense Headquarters, you might call it. Anyway, that fax from Infraspection said that the vector data systems analysis was totally bogus.
Well, okay, these are two of the most important points. For one, number one, this flare footage supposedly is only supposed to be able to peak. I mean, it picks up heat, basically. It doesn't pick up flashes or reflections of light. I mean, off of a windshield or whatever they were saying that it came from. I mean, it's going to show gunfire, especially rapid gunfire that takes time over more than 1 second, over a time period of seconds. And am I speaking to Ed, or am I speaking to
you have
a real
Lance,
expert?
Mike, and Ed here.
Yeah.
But caller, we're going to let some more people get in here. We only have 10 minutes before we show the tape.
Hey,
Okay,
let me
We'll
just ask you one thing though, right quick, because just from watching John Joe's personality, from what we've showed of the videos, and you know us, and you know what we're like, and none of us down here are violent that are doing these shows.
Well, those people seem down to earth. They seem like they care about their family, and they're just trying to. I mean, they're following the law basically, because in the Constitution it says that they don't have to put up with this corruption.
Right.
Here's a quote. It says, "He's not coming out." Alicia Gray said. She was asked if Gray would be willing to talk to the authorities and try to work something out. You don't deal with the devil, she said. So
apparently, these people worship. They're not only Masons, but they sacrifice children. I don't know if any of that's true.
Well, we don't know about
either.
that, but we do
don't
know.
either.
But we do know that from Joe that he had tried and complained about the cattle coming into his place and having to round them up and then call the sheriff and go through this over and over.
And then they took retribution on him because the commissioner's court is controlled by the same Masons.
Just remember this, caller.
They threaten him.
All the 5,500 acres around him is owned by a rich banker out of Athens.
And they've always been trying to take his property away.
He has 47 acres right on the Trinity River that right across the river they're building this. Is it called a nature preserve?
The environmentalists are
Yeah,
trying
and
to take
you can
over.
hear them sawing. If you go down there, you can hear them sawing over there. It's sawing
They're working
trees
in
down.
cahoots.
Oh, and it's also where they had. Is it the Indian? It's the Indian. What is it? The Indian-Spanish War. I think it's the Indian-Spanish War they had
So they
there.
want to preserve that.
A famous battle, if you look in the history books, took place right there on his property. So we need to look into that. Who's trying to get this property?
I hope it ain't going to be.
Defendant.
Same thing down where Vetter. Why were they trying to get his? Not Vetter, but what was it? Melvin Hale. Why were they trying to
Right.
get his land for 18 years?
We'll show the footage, and maybe I'll call back later if
All
there's
righty.
time.
God bless you, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Oh man, you should have let him talk.
All right, guys, you're sitting there making me lose sleep.
All right, go ahead, Alex.
Well,
I haven't had enough
we only
airtime. We'll
got
go on.
4 minutes before we have to play you, Alex.
That's right.
Unless you want me to fast forward it just and play the 40 minutes.
Whatever you want. Yeah, Mike. No, there wouldn't be time anyways. It's an hour show, Mike. Just
Hour and a half, bro.
Hour and a half.
Oh, that's
We have an
right.
hour and a half show. Do you
Yeah,
want?
I know, but it's an hour tape. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we got it for 45 minutes where you started talking about it.
Yeah,
Remember?
that's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
You don't.
Go ahead, brief it.
I was just calling. Ed's up there working his tail off. Ed, we need those digital photos sent over to WorldNet Daily.
Oh, he's working on that already.
Oh, I know. Ed's the best. There's some of the dead bodies run over. No, I just appreciate all you guys. I'm gonna hit the sack, but
Oh, can you talk about this, Alex? This Tuesday evening, Alex Jones, Austin-based radio talk show host, told his audience that he received word that federal agents had set up a command post outside
Yeah, I
Gray's
mean, that's
property
even in the
and prepared to attack.
Mike,
Go ahead and tell people what that's all
Yeah.
about.
That's even in the MSNBC news report that they do admit that the sheriff was going to move in that morning with a multi-jurisdictional task force, the feds, the state, the locals, and by showing up and putting out the word nationwide on radio on my 60-plus affiliates, by the listeners taking action, we were able to avert another Waco, 10 adults and 7 children. The only bunker on the property was built by the Grays a month and a half, 2 months ago due to all this harassment, and it says kids on top of the bunker. And we're going to show some footage of that. That's where they put the children at night. It's nice down in there. It's like a room. In case the feds do come in and kill all the adults, they won't be able to kill the children. So the feds better watch it if you're planning to go in there and butcher those kids and claim the Grays did it. And they're just trying to spin this whole deal. And, I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. We fight tirelessly trying to wake people up. But we took action. It averted disaster. That's what it boils down to. That's what it's all about, stopping the bloodshed. We don't want the Grays dead. We don't want the police dead. That only creates this bigger and bigger chasm between the general public and, of course, the enforcers of this criminal bureaucracy. That's all we want. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming. What Mr. Gray was talking about, the devil worshiper stuff, he asked his preacher, why do you have a Mason's ring? And the Mason said, do you want to join? He said, let me research it. And he found out it's occultic. They even admit that. And they started harassing him. But that's where it all began. We didn't have time to put all the Gray interview on. We started grabbing clips. And by the time we got to 40 minutes of tape, I was like, man, we don't even have time for this. So next week we'll air all of the John Joe Gray interview on the show. And of course, we'll be live from 4:30 to 4:30 to 6 tomorrow on Channel 10. But I want to thank Lance for doing a great job on this show, and you too, Mike, and of course, Ed. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here so you guys can air the tape. You don't have to. You can just keep taking calls. I mean, the fact of the matter is that's a federal camera they had out there. They got this local puppet, MJTF, out of the governor's office out in Marble Falls, and it's just standard operating procedure. I mean, it's just the country's sick.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. No, that's what the same area that me at Marble Falls that Mike and Alex and Scott and Daryl, we were attacked out there by this bunch claiming to be a border patrol. I think they just have closets of uniforms that they just throw on.
No. I mean, Lance, they actually do. I mean, you look at the document on Infowars.com from Fort Hood under the martial law series with phone numbers and documents. They admit that they have police wearing military wearing police uniforms serving search warrants now, and they call it, it's just assistance, it's no big deal. And Ed, of course, wrote a story on that as well for Infowars.com. But, everybody watching should get involved. But that's the telltale sign of a secret police is when the military have closets full of uniforms. Welcome to Nicaragua, El Salvador, Mexico, Russia.
Well, if they go to Infowars.com, where can they find this Joe Gray stuff?
It's all right there on the main page. We didn't have time. We didn't ever put I think the Washington Times stories up there and a bunch of others about this, but we didn't have time to put the San Antonio Express News, Dallas Morning News, Houston Chronicle up. But that'll all be up on the website tomorrow. Our main web computer is actually in the shop right now because one of the drivers went out. We can't seem to get it to work. But
one more question about the kids. They're saying they're trying to claim that some of the kids are being held hostage.
That's also by MSNBC, and that's the inaccurate part of the article. I mean, they admit that we averted a bloodbath. The sheriff admits it, but the same article, they got 2 photos of 2 of the children saying they're being held hostage. They don't mention it's their mother keeping them, that they haven't claimed these children are being held, will hurt them. That's what it means to have a hostage. But it's just the same spin. They were never planning to serve a search warrant out there for anything about children or child custody. The whole thing was about Mr. Gray and the situation with the DPS and refusing to have driver's license before that. They admit that. But they just throw this in like with Waco. They go out to Waco over supposed illegal guns. Once they get caught with their pants down, it's for the children. So it's just it's for the children. And
from that tape that I saw, the footage that y'all got, those kids looked beautiful. They looked healthy. They looked happy. They didn't look like they were being held hostage to me.
Yeah, no papers have been served. None have been planned. Now they're talking about it. Even the paper admitted that. But this is just what they do. They don't even mention.
SOP. It's SOP nowadays.
Yeah, it's for the children. It's for the children.
Sure, the Branch Davidians kids were fine, and then 51 days after the Fed showed up, they were all dead. So explain that.
Well, they were saving the children. We all know the Davidians did it. Don't be so extreme. Just turn in your guns, Lance. You'll be much safer.
Yeah, I'm out of control.
I'm going to get off and crash and let you guys do the show, but y'all just keep taking calls or air part of that video. I mean, it's just basically realize what a hot zone it was when we went in there. But thank God stuff turned out all right, at least for now.
Well, thanks for all your hard work, Commander.
Alex, you definitely averted a bad situation there. And like in Waco, of course, you had the BATF involved there in saving the children. And now you have apparently some rogue element of the governor's narcotics task force run by a police chief in Marble Falls involved in a child custody case out in East Texas. It boggles the mind.
Please do not hang up on me.
Wait. Okay, go ahead.
Would you hang up on somebody in a wheelchair or someone who was blind?
I haven't hung up yet. Go ahead.
All right, well, I have a speech impediment. I use this machine to speak.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right, well, today I saw something you were mentioning, unmarked vehicles and Bastrop pulling people over. Well, I was coming down the road and there was a pickup truck, just an ordinary white pickup truck. All of a sudden, turned on lights and a siren, but it weren't regular police lights. They were like coming out of the turn signal lights, flashing blue and white and red, and a real light show going on. And I pulled over and let him go by. Then coming up the road towards me was another vehicle. It was just an old red Dodge, and it had the same thing going with the siren going and all that. I don't know where they were headed, but they were obviously unmarked, had no special license plates, no uniforms on or anything like that, and it just really puzzled me. And then the comment you made about the unmarked white vehicles prompted me to call.
Well, I'm glad you did to confirm that. People think that we're seeing things, but the fact of the matter is we're dealing with a secret police that has evolved into our society today, and now we have to deal with never knowing who's going to jump out and point a gun at our face at any minute. A thought just occurred to me, thanks to Ed. It may have been a volunteer fire department, but just because of what we know, and obviously if you watch the shows, what we've shown in our shows, you can never be sure. Everywhere you turn is a secret Gestapo that's forming.
It seems to be that way, yes.
Well, caller, are you saying this white truck pulled you over, or it just went by you?
He didn't pull me over, but he came on me real aggressively, like get out of the way, which
right.
I did,
Yeah, I would too.
Well, but anyway,
if you go to that website Infowars.com, and I think if you type in the search engine white vehicles, I think the pictures will show up there. Alex flew over in a small plane and got some
Yeah.
pictures. And I think we're going to start this video from where Alex is introducing this.
Caller, you're welcome to talk about anything else. Is that all you had?
Well, that and I have my suspicions about this fiber optic cable that's being laid all over the place.
Right down South First right now.
Well, yeah, they started at the airport about a year and a half ago, and they've been putting it all over town. I don't know what it is, but it's obviously a really big project, and it just gives me the willies every time I look at it for some reason.
Yeah, I get those same willies.
Well, anyway, thanks for your time.
Ed said he doesn't.
Yeah, I really don't fear this at all. I'm sure it's totally for our
I don't know,
safety.
did you ever read the book 1984?
No, I'm being sarcastic,
The thing-
obviously.
Yeah, right. The thing about that fiber optic cable is it can see both ways.
Right.
I can't wait for it in my yard.
Every television will be a camera. Every camera will be a television.
I'm afraid of that.
I think you know what, caller? That brings to mind a point that they have made these old-style televisions illegal to manufacture after a certain date coming up here real soon. All our televisions are going to have to be these new digital televisions.
Yeah.
That can, and I'm sure they'll be readily linkable to this new fiber optic system. And of course, they'll claim that they won't do it, but you know there'll be people watching us in our homes. We're going to have to turn our televisions towards the wall when we're not watching them.
Yeah, really. And watch out what you do with the wife on the couch.
Well, that's probably not a joke because, beware the biometrics because the most efficient and fastest form of biometric identification is facial recognition. It's
Yeah.
not thumb scan, it's not iris scan, it's not retina scan, it's facial recognition. It takes very little storage, the algorithms are very fast, and the cameras that they're putting up on the street corners to supposedly photograph cars running
Or the
red
children.
lights.
Right, I
children.
don't like that very much either.
Right, but what they will be able to do easily is to identify the people that are visible through the windows of the cars as they drive by. And that's not just the driver, but any passengers in there also. That if you can see the face, you can tell who's going where. The other thing is, these type of biometrics are being used increasingly for security, for computers, for example, so that you don't need a password. You sit down at your computer, you have a little camera on there,
2 minutes.
and it identifies you. And, of course, with all the pornography that is going to be available on these wideband, multi-channel digital televisions, well, I'm sure that you'll need a facial recognition system there so that the kids can't circumvent this and watch a dirty movie. So there's your camera. Their cameras will be built into the television sets. They will supposedly be for identification purposes. But think what Nielsen can do with that, because they can see exactly which family members are sitting there watching, and if they're actually looking at the screen or playing video games. And of course, our loving and caring and
Yeah,
a wonderful, warm, fuzzy Big Brother will also be able to keep an eye on us in our
well,
homes.
that's it. Big Brother is laying his infrastructure right now. And, I don't know if you and me are the only ones that know about it, but it sure is obvious if you look around.
Oh, there's plenty of people that know about this out there.
Oh yeah, I'm glad that some of them will stay underground until we need them.
Well, I'll do all I can. That's all I can say.
Well, sir, I thank you for calling, and you can help us also by calling in the dumbbell stations that never like to talk about this stuff, and they may not give you the credibility to have something good to say like one of us will, but you can always try.
Well, we all do what we can, right?
Well, obviously, you're an intelligent man, and you're welcome to call the show anytime, sir.
Call
Well,
back next
thank you,
week
and
at 12
I
o'clock.
apologize for my Frankensteinian voice.
It's no problem. It's an interesting feature to the show. I appreciate you calling.
All right, well, you'll hear from me again, probably. Thanks.
All right, sir. Have a good night.
We got 1 minute.
Two-way TVs. Now there's your TV hole. Is that caller on? Go ahead. Go ahead, caller.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to bring up real briefly the CAFRs, and according to Desi Andrews, it would take maybe a year, maybe more, just to be able to learn enough about it to be able to talk about it. intelligently or in depth. And I think when people can see local corruption at that extent, then they're not going to think of these other things as so sci-fi. They're going to see that their taxes are being raised when these trillions of dollars have already been made off of our taxes.
They're just sitting
billions.
there.
Well, let me ask you a question, caller. Are you saying that we have trillions of dollars in the coffers in the let's say in bonds and land and other features that we would not have to pay taxes for hundreds of years, and that they're sucking off us for no reason out here, like with the property taxes, the school taxes, the sales tax, and every other tax that they can think of, just to keep us under their control? Is that what you're saying, or are you saying something different?
If what Desi Andrews and what Jeff Contreras and what Chris Athenas, Jeff Contreras' producer of Therefore I Am, have said is true, or if it's close to true, then yes, I do agree, or yes, I do confirm what you're saying. And that.
Well, Alex had that guy on, the one that wrote some kind of book. I can't remember.
Alex had that on his show a few months ago, but it was only on one of Alex's shows that he brought it up, and then maybe later on he mentioned it briefly. But I think it might, like Desi Andrews says, take a lot of study, and that's why Chris hasn't just come forth with it right away. He said he's just now getting into it, and that he's going to come out with 3 episodes on not realityexpander.com, or maybe through that, but he's going to have them show on ACTV.
Well, why is Carol, if they have all that money, then why is Carol Rylander seizing everybody's account I know?
You know what? I'd like to know the same thing, but it's going to take not just a few of us, but a lot of us, and I'm one of the people that are interested in studying into this, because I'm just sick and tired of these high property. I mean, that shows you the extent of the corruption. I mean, it's not just these elitists. It's not just big government. It's big local
wannabe
government.
elitist. It's people who want to associate their power and feel like they're elite as well.
Junior high mentality.
Right, cheerleader squad. We're better than you.
Well, y'all
F the
stand by
nerds.
for this tape.
Okay.
I think it needs to be played.
Yeah, I guess
again.
we better start
And
get it
congressional
rolling.
bill, that congressional bill that allows chemicals and chemtrails is an extent of that to be sprayed on us.
Title
that
51.
needs to be looked into. But people need to believe that, because it's true. It's an actual bill that allows the federal government to spray us with deadly chemicals.
And I've even
to
shown
experiment on us.
I've even shown on my program where the History Channel not only admits to the
And Current
LSD.
Affair.
And Current Affair as well. But History Channel and Current Affair are mainstream press, and they sit there and tell you how the government admits through the Freedom of Information Act documents about the biological spraying, not just the LSD test, which is the one that everybody thinks of right away, but the biological sprays where deaths resulted.
I'm a true believer. Can I call you after the
Caller,
show
we
and
have to play
maybe
this tape. We have to.
I want to get involved in this stuff.
Well, hey man, why don't you come down and get a show?
Look,
I'd like
call
to
in
maybe
tomorrow.
help you on your show first to get some experience, and then maybe get my own
Well,
show.
come on down, dude.
Can you pick Lance up too?
You got me all excited here.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Look for Infowars.com. Look for Lance's show next Monday night at 12 o'clock.
I'll call you
Tune
after
in
the show,
tomorrow
Lance. Or
on Channel 10.
Okay, that's fine.
Is it 10 tomorrow? 10 at 4:30 tomorrow, and we're going to this tape. And God bless everybody.
Okay, here we go.
Come on.
Take care, folks.
Oh.
Watch out, Alec. He might stop. Yeah, here comes some people behind us. Alex. Good footage. These cars, and they downloaded the man post across the road. way to the black sedan. Here come several more vehicles. Cops are out here, but they're out here, and there's also some news people out here as well. So this is kind of a Waco thing, just starts to crank up minus the shooting of the BATF. And I think we're about to break here now, and when we come back, we'll be able to give you some details. I went ahead and just drove through the night instead of doing the show live. I want to thank Mark Kornke and Dave and Clyde for coming on the show for me for the first 2 hours. And we'll come back from this break with more details. Use the time for people to back off. So as I'm directing Mike with his video camera, getting some shots of the signs, it says, there's a sign here on the front gate that says, disobedience to tyranny is obedience to God. Psalms 91, Jeremiah 10, the God giveth. The God of Freemasonry isn't the God of this Bible. Wow. So some hardcore stuff here. And they just want to be left alone.
Right, and it could be also a rangefinder.
Yeah.
A laser rangefinder.
Yeah.
Y'all can drive all the way down, or you just come in halfway with the
Whatever you...
Pick it up.
Adults and 7 children, and they pulled a camera out of the tree right off their property, and the feds are right across the street, and shot a laser in my face in a loving fashion when I was in the car with the window down doing the interview. And it's just disgusting type activities. It doesn't intimidate me. This family has a right to not have a driver's license if they don't want one out here in the country trying to be left alone. We have a right to travel in this country, and they're not going to kill them. They've been arresting them over and over and over again for it. Think about it. Only slaves don't have a right to travel. We're now inside. We brought our vehicles in up by the house here on the 47 acres. They wanted to get us off the road out front there. And again, I just want to thank Genesis for the opportunity of having this show, being able to have this free flow format, and for the great folks providing live host, Mark Kornke, Yankee D, and of course, Dave Von Kleist for the first 2 hours of the program. I was out of contact. My cell phone was cutting out. Wasn't sure even what was going on until I called from a payphone, but we're getting good cell phone service here, now a little bit better. Is Ted Anderson still there?
Hey. Who is it? Who is it? Identify! Identify yourself then.
Get on this. Get on this.
I am. Who sent you? Who sent you?
Beg pardon?
Who sent you?
Teresa?
Pull up to the gate.
Get on this, Mike.
I'm getting it, Alex.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Pretty good.
You want them here?
Nope.
No?
Any news big can go.
He said no.
Alright.
Go ahead. No more Wacos. I mean, that's why I rebuilt the church at Mount Carmel as a memorial for all those that died that we finished up this year. No more Wacos. I mean, that's the bottom line. After the carnage we saw there in '93 and the mass murder by Delta Force, it's time for this to stop in Central Texas. Now we're just 50, 60 miles away from Waco, here in East Texas, and you've got a family that I've interviewed 2 years ago who were being harassed by the locals for not having driver's license. A free creature, a free human being, has a right to travel without being controlled if they feel the government is corrupt, and I agree with that. And it's become a sport now to corner some family or corner a church and burn them out or kill them. And they just want to be left alone. It's just that simple. This family has a right to be left alone and live their life out here. They never had criminal records until the police started waiting at the end of their street to arrest them every time they tried to go out and buy some groceries or go out to work. Mr. Gray builds houses. I mean, this is disgusting. Free people have a right to be left alone and not to be cornered like animals for some modern gladiatorial sport. This is not the Circus Maximus. And I'm going to call for Americans all over the country to come here and defend these people nonviolently and say, hey, no more Wacos. You're not going to come in here strong-arm, corner another family, another community, another church, call them kooks or whatever, and then kill them. This is America, where you have a right to be free and believe as you wish and live your life. And they're doing that. And there are 7 children in here, one of them as young as 3 months, the oldest 7, 10 adults, and we're not going to allow a mini Waco here. It's just that simple. And so I would tell the federal government, who we know is orchestrating this as they always do, we've had a merger between the feds and the local police and the state police, to leave them alone. They've been out here. They followed us in when we came in. The police were driving down the road. They've got some command center across the road over there. When I was in my vehicle, I got hit in the face by a laser that they use for targeting a gun. It may have been a rangefinder. I don't know. But it came from that vehicle over there covered in camouflage.
Where does this all begin from? Where does this start? I mean,
2 years ago, the Grays began to be pulled over for not having driver's license. And a lot of people don't want driver's license. Our driver's license in Texas are now federal. Check it out. You got a laser scan to get a driver's license at the DPS office. It's federal. It's an executive order signed by Clinton in '93. People are against that. I mean, first it's Social Security cards. Now it's driver's license that you have to thumb scan biometrically. A lot of people are afraid of Big Brother, and I personally am too. I've got a out-of-date driver's license myself, and I'm not about to get a new one. Alex Jones is not getting a new driver's license, and is it going to be me next when I can't get a bank account, when I can't work, when I can't live? Thank God I'm self-employed as a radio talk show host. I mean, there it is. There's my expired driver's license. This is the crime they've committed. This is why they're so evil. This is how they got the Grays into the system. They're now claiming all these other things and not showing up to court. Why, that's a felony. They can throw whatever they want at these people. It all started 2 years ago when they started pulling them over and pulling the wife and the child and people out of the car and taking them to jail for not having ID. About 5 years ago, I was walking down the road in Austin, Texas, and a cop pulled up and said, I want to see your ID. And I'm walking to the store, and I go, I don't have a criminal record. I don't have a license. This isn't Nazi Germany. And he gave me a ticket for it, which I beat in court. This is America now. Today, you can't walk down the street without somebody saying, where's your ID? I'm not in Nazi Germany. I mean, come on. Leave these people alone. And this time, media don't buy the propaganda of the establishment. Don't allow them to butcher these people. And I'll guarantee you this, the American people aren't going to put up with it a second time. Maybe that's what the feds want, is some confrontation to make patriotism or freedom, whether you're liberal or conservative, look bad. This is not a gladiatorial sport to corner a family like animals and encircle them slowly and then lay siege to them and kill them. This is a precedent that's being set in America. We've got to turn it back. I don't want to live in a police state. And understandably, the Grays are concerned about the mainstream media. And I don't think it's paranoia at all. They tell me they've been smeared before because people just don't understand. Americans have given up their rights. They don't think about it anymore, and they've just been going along to get along with it. I say it's time to say no to all of Big Brother's activities.
You talk about every American family or every American here or watching this, listening to this and coming along. How do you, because it could, to some people, this could sound totally outrageous. Like, I can't imagine how this could happen. How do you explain that to someone who has no idea of what a place like this is all about?
Well, I've known the Grays for 2 years since their problem started. We came out here and interviewed them for the radio and for my television show in Austin. And they were good people. They just want to be left alone. They're out here, country folks. And for Americans to say, well, those people aren't like me. Well, isn't that what Hitler said about the Jews? Those people aren't like me. Let's deal with them. Let's take them out. Let's mess with them. Oh, let's make them carry IDs. Let's make them jump through our hoops. And people will say, well, we have to jump through those hoops. Well, I ask you, how free are you in America today? That's really the question I'm asking people. But I'm not concerned about the majority of people. A lot of folks will say, leave these poor people alone, live and let live. A lot of people will say, get them, they're kooks, because they like to feel good and better about themselves by putting others down. I just say I saw a bunch of children killed at Waco. And I knew they could have picked Koresh up any day in town. And I saw federal agents die. And we watched all this unfold, the military come in tanks. and helicopters, and they burn it to the ground. And we've got DPS officers that have come forward, David Keyes, that never got into the civil trial. We've got CIA people, we've got Dr. Frederick Whitehurst, former head of the FBI crime lab, coming forward on Waco, saying they manufactured evidence on the Davidians and covered up other evidence. That's all there for your cameras to go check out. Waco was horrible. This is so close to Waco. How can I live in Austin and swear no more Wacos on the radio and then not drive up here? I found out about 5:30 today that this was happening. Went home, put the toothpaste and deodorant in my bag and drove up here. And out here in the Texas heat to try to ensure that these people are not going to be butchered, because it could happen to me next. Who was the minister from Germany who said, first they came for the Jews and I did nothing because I wasn't a Jew, then they came for the gypsies, I did nothing because I wasn't a gypsy, then they came for the Catholics, then they came for the homosexuals, then they came for blah, blah, blah. And finally, when the Nazis came for me, there was nobody left. Nobody left to stand up for me. What's their crime? Can you turn your Jeep lights back on?
No, it's okay.
There you go.
Oh,
There you
good.
go. Alex, talk.
Well, what in the New World Order is this? This is a loving... Mike, please come over here and get all the date numbers and things and the VIN numbers on this piece of Big Brother. This is date received, probably means when they got the federal grant at the DPS. Probably got one of these across the street from my house. They've moved in. 9/7/99. And I guess this is a remote camera, it looks like.
You got to be kidding.
No, look right there.
Yeah, we got the rest of it down there. Yeah. The transmitter.
Oh, you've got the rest of it, a transmitter and battery?
They are going to move in here.
We got it all out there.
Oh, you should have shown this to the media.
That's what we asked, and someone said it'd be best not to.
Here you've got a digital wireless camera, ladies and gentlemen. And this is what they do to families that just don't want to have driver's license, that don't want to be thumb scanned. This is what they do to you. This is how they handle it. They're not worried about giving all the missile secrets to China. Oh, no. They can sell all the organs they want left and right. Kill people as much as they want, but this...
Is it night vision?
This is property of CORE. That's very important, Mike. Around earlier, Mike. I need that VIN number, Mike.
I got it, Alex.
It's number C2120. Number C2120, property of CORE.
What is that?
C-O-R-E. It's some federal program. I remember reading about it.
I've heard of it.
It's some anti-terrorism bill.
Yeah, I don't recall, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it too. It's some anti-terrorism. You can't keep track of all of it. Oh, you got terrorists out there living on their own property, want to be left alone.
They probably want it for tomorrow when they move in. They can get the footage of it.
For training.
Yeah.
This is all training. For bigger and better.
I think you need to put the alert out if they're going to.
I'm about to. Yeah, I need to quit screwing around.
Marble Falls, Texas. No, we didn't get that. See, property of Marble Falls, Texas. What the hell is that?
Isn't that interesting? Marble Falls?
They're the small town of Trinidad in East Texas, near where my family's from. And they have found a digital wireless camera, a quite large one, by the way, from Marble Falls, from the governor's task force right here in Texas, watching the family. They've got a command center right across in a little field by some woods. When I first pulled up and I was talking on the air during my show doing a live report, Bill, and thanks for having me up, I was hit in the face by a laser illuminator, either from a gun or a rangefinder, and we saw police cars out there and feds driving around, and it's really developing. And then something interesting happened. All the news media pulled up. They've already been out here. NBC 56 from Dallas came out, actually from Tyler, Texas. Paul Michael Mueller, reporter, and told me that a Trinidad police officer told him they may move in the morning. that they may move in at first light here in East Texas, and I'm inside their property. They're 47 acres. My dyslexia coming out there, Bill. And they're just good folks that want to be left alone and want to live their lives. This all started 2 years ago for not having driver's license. They're not a cult. They're just Christians that aren't going to be part of this national ID card Big Brother system that I don't have to elaborate on for our listeners.
Was it hooked up, though? Yeah, it was all hooked up.
Really?
We just kind of grabbed it and ran.
This is a woodland area in East Texas.
Oh, what's that right there?
Pine trees and oaks.
Covert.
You name it. And Mike's now ramming my car here.
Look.
Bumping into it with
Covert
Operations, P.O. Box 340060, Austin, Texas. In the metal of the digital transmitter from the wireless camera they had aimed onto their property from their command post. They have retreated back into the woods. Their command post is out there. They're talking about moving in the morning. Bill, I can't talk about the enormity of this. I'm here. I'm staying here. I'm tired of playing games, and I'm tired of people being pushed around and being treated like criminals when they're not, and I swore no more Wacos. It's happening right here in my backyard, only 200 miles from my home in Austin, Texas, and I'm not going to put up with it. In the same area, East Texas, that my ancestors came into in 1829. And we're not their property, we're not their slaves. I wanted to give people the directions to come here. Of course, for security reasons, we can't let folks on the property, but the dirt road outside the house, for support. It is imperative that the listeners come here. Already some listeners have been here and have left, quite a few people. But we need people to come, and we need people to stay. It's off Farm Road 274 off Highway 31 East. The nearby town is Trinidad, and it's a little bit north of Waco, about 45 miles, near Corsicana. 31 East, please write it down, folks. 31 East, Farm Road 274, and it's 3 to 4 miles down Farm Road 274. You go down. I'll tell you what, I can give these directions out a little bit better after the break, Bill, if you want. Texas off Highway 31 East. If you're going east on the highway, you will turn left at Farm Road 274. Again, going east on Highway 31, you will take a left at Farm Road 274. We're talking about Trinidad, the town of Trinidad, outside the town of Trinidad in central Texas, right into the edge of East Texas. We've also, so you go down 31 East, you take Farm Road 274, take a left, 3 to 4 miles. What's the name of that road, or does it not have a name?
It's Old River Road.
Old River Road. You take a left on Old River Road, and it winds around. It's a dirt road about a mile or two. And right there on your right-hand side, you'll see a sign that says, "We are militia." And also some other signs that talk about folks standing up, and some Bible verses on the front gate. They refuse to have driver's license. They refuse to go into this national ID card system. Here in Texas, they thumb scan us to get driver's license. And they're putting in retina scanners in the banks. It's a total control modus operandi. This is a mini Waco, 10 adults, 7 children. You've got the grandparents, Mr. Gray, Mr. Joe John Gray, and then you've got his sons and their wives, and then you've got the children, and of course Mrs. Gray. And they're just good Texas people that want to be left alone in their 47 acres. Oh, by the way, Bill, the local community's been wanting to buy their property or steal it for some so-called environmentalist sanctuary. It's right off the Trinity River. So I'm going to go ahead and let you go, and details will be up on Infowars.com, and I hope the feds don't come in here, because it is a multi-jurisdictional task force and kill me and Mike Hansen. Mike's right here, Bohemian Grove a few weeks ago, and now this. It just never ends, but we're going to fight, and I've committed myself. And God bless you, Bill, and all the folks at Genesis. Take care.
Getting out that day before I got you bonded out.
What are you going to do?
When you bond out.
What are you going to do, Joe, if they come in here and try to come after your family?
We're going to protect them to our death. We're going to take out as many as we can. And to me, the New World Order, a lot of them are innocent people. They're going to use the innocent ones to come in on us. I know that. But we're all appointed once to die. And none of us is, fear of death. The officer that had the gun on me that day, I told him, if you want to shoot someone so bad, go ahead and shoot me. He said, I will if you don't get out of the car. I said, well, go ahead and shoot me. I just kept on telling him he wouldn't shoot me. But he knew he wasn't afraid of dying.
Well, that took the pleasure away that you didn't care.
Yeah. But,
it's the terror they enjoy.
But, we're just going to fight them to our death. They keep coming, we keep taking them out. If we take them all out, fine, we'll take them all out.
Well, they're an enemy. And as such, you have a God-given right to protect yourself and your family. And God provided for that.
That's what it's all about. Get up swiftly.
Most definitely it is. So perhaps it's that time.
Linda, go see if Jonathan got the key. What? Right.
Someone's out back.
That's my youngest daughter.
Hi.
She listens to you without fail.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Elizabeth.
Mike Anthony.
I'll reach out and try to take your hand. There you go.
Mike hand.
Great shot. You gotta move really slow.
Mike, we're in some dangerous water.
What do you mean?
And right over here is the Jeep. Very nice.
Oh.
This is a nice place.
Boy, you can't beat it. Like a deer camp and the house.
It's a shame you can't just live your life.
Yep.
Mike, just so you know, that outhouse ain't gonna protect you, buddy. You're gonna get video, go ahead and step out or come over here.
I'm getting video, Alex. Don't you worry about it.
No, really. Once you figure out how the system works.
I need this. If they come and try to kill the kids.
Of course, they don't care. They're probably the first place to hear it.
Take a picture in front of him, don't they?
Go on, which way?
And that way.
The sheriff of Henderson County was quoted the next day by MSNBC as saying they were planning to move in the early morning hours. Due to our presence there, he backed off. This is exactly the type of activities we need to see from more Americans. 4 or 5 carloads of patriots showed up throughout the evening in the middle of nowhere on only about 4 hours' notice for my radio show. And as a result, the Gray family is still alive with their children, as well as the police officers, the federal, state, and local, that were going to storm the area. Thank you for all you've done, America. We've averted a bloodbath.
Oh my God, they tore it up.
Yeah, you shot some.
Are they here?
Look, an Imperial probe droid destroyed. An Imperial probe droid with a self-destruct.
You look good, Alex.
Yeah, I bet I do. You joking? Running on 6 hours sleep today. Now, come on over here, Mike. Wow, I wonder what's this, a spider?
Cyclops. Large.
Mike, pan up and get them in the shot.
I am.
Get me in. Hello. You are a cutie. Oh, it's talking to me now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a nice job, or somebody did a nice job on that. Must have fallen off an airplane.
Yeah, I think cows got into it, you know. I think they haven't gotten the hay and tore it all up.
Well, that's too
Carried
good.
all over the field.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
I know. I heard them in there, the cows.
Yeah, cows get trumping everything down. They get in that hay.
You want to make a statement
Yeah,
real
that's
quick? Go ahead.
Well, during the night, this transmitter for this wireless camera got smashed. It was pointed onto the Gray's property. And you start reading, this is some covert operations. P.O. Box 340060, Austin, Texas 78734. And there's a police phone number right there as well. Come on, Mike, let's move that.
Hen hatched them out. Silver duck, and they got this big and she's a baby.
That is cute.
The littlest patriot, right winger. Oh.
3 months old?
4 months.
Wow, really, this is good stuff from television. These are the evil right-wing terrorists we're dealing with. What will we do? Hey, puppy, you're a goofy little thing.
You know where Rachel went?
He was still in that hole like that.
She got me back on.
American Red Deal. I couldn't believe when I heard that about a Red Deal.
You remember Chris Leonard out at Fort Davis, don't you?
No, yes, sir.
You know, 21st. He shot himself in the paper.
Yes, ma'am. You like black walnuts?
And that has to wear off.
Mr. Gray, Mr. Gray, how did this all start a few years ago?
Oh my goodness. It really started when I believe the Baptist preacher, I noticed his ring and the lapel on his tie and symbol, and asked him about it, and he said he's a Mason. And he could get me some literature and I could sign it and join up with him. So I just asked him, before I join anything, I'd check into it. So we got some literature on it and got to listen to shortwave radio now on it. We found out it's a cult and some of the things they did, so I went back to church and I asked them if they did some of these things. He said, Joe, you ain't supposed to know about these. I said, well, what's the cover of it? It must be a cult, like they say. Well, that's what started it. Next thing, we was shined from the church. People had nothing to do with us, and then road commissioner started giving us trouble and found out he was a Mason. Went to commission court, found out he was a Mason.
How was the commissioner giving you problems?
Well, I'm about the road. They changed it to a ranch road instead of county road. So there was blacktop on that road at one time out there when I first moved here. So they kept grading it down, and now it's a dirt road. The county judge took me and the wife in his chambers, and there's some rattlesnakes. He had stuff on his desk. He told us now, he don't know when this thing's going to strike. I said, we don't worry about them. We got what we call timber rattlers down there, and we killed one, blew his head off, 3.5 inches in diameter, 4 foot long. No problem. He said, well, if you and your wife don't shut up about the road and the cattle coming on your property down there, DA is going to find charges against y'all. You ain't never heard of them, throw your ass in the federal pen.
He told you this to your face?
He told us that, just like that.
What's his name?
Tommy Smith.
Yeah.
Tommy Smith.
Yeah, he's the
county commissioner?
Right.
In the county?
In the county.
And then the name of this county?
Henderson County.
Henderson, okay.
That's when it really all started. And then I didn't like the idea that a judge could just tell us this, so I went to JP that I knew and asked her, what can we do about it? She said, just get your letter stating what he has said to you, and send him a certified registered letter. And then...
you have a record of that letter?
Well, we did have. The guy that was running against Tommy, I gave him a copy of it. He sent him all over the county showing what Tommy was like.
Good.
But he didn't get in. But, so we give him that letter. Then we was able to go to commission court again. So he didn't want to bring it up in commission court about this road and all this stuff. And we found what's called a stray law here in Texas. Because no livestock can roam on county property, or even the roads or anything like that. And Demarella sent it to us. We just wrote to him asking what can be done. Got these cattle out on the road and everything. It's a stray law. It was passed, I think, in '87. But they wouldn't recognize it in the commission court. They refused to recognize it because who owns the land out here is the big guy that owns First National Bank in Athens. He's the one who owns all that land, 5,500 acres around us here. But he got all of it, this right here. They don't have this. And Bill Key, I think what his name is. But commission court, they just dropped it. We got in the court. Well, the thing was, the wife was out here toting a pistol. She's homeschooling over there, and the sheriff and DA just pulled right up here, and we had a couple of cows in the corral there. We called the sheriff and told him we got a couple of cows that came in. We had a bunch of ryegrass planted out there. We used to have this real neat all around here and kept it green. And then the sheriff came out here, and the DA said he was going to arrest my wife for cattle rusting if she didn't let those cows go. And stray law says you pin them up and call the sheriff, and he's supposed to get the party that owns the cows to pay for the damage. Well, they wouldn't do that because who owns the cow? But the DA was threatening to arrest my wife for cattle rusting.
When you called them?
Well, yeah. They came out the next day. So the wife went and explained to him what cattle rusting was. The DA didn't like it a bit.
I told him no, that made him mad.
And we told him that she has the right to bear arms on her property and all.
Oh, they were saying something about her gun.
And so DA said, no, not in this county. We don't allow women to carry guns, even on their own property.
Which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
The sheriff told me I could wear
That is ridiculous. That's communism.
Well intended to. I don't need your permission.
But,
this is our nightmare.
yeah. See, he hit a cow down here.
I'm sorry, go ahead, sir. You were talking about the stray law. They're not enforcing it.
They're not enforcing it. It came from Demarella too, and I give the JP and the courts, commission court, and all a copy of it now, and where to find it in the law books and everything. But they would not recognize it. So that's when we decided it's best not to go to their courts, stay out of their court system, because we couldn't win in it. It's just all the strikes against us.
Not much.
But they take the law and twist it and do what they want to with it. So
selectively enforce. We look at this system where they want to force people to do more and more to be able to get a license, to get a bank account, to get a job, to live their lives.
If you're on the phone, continue to hold. We're going to continue after the show.
This system? Why would you want to not be a part of it?
Because it's not God's system. It's the Antichrist, it's Satan's system. And
okay, hang on there if you're on the phone.
His system was set up under freedom. not to be under bondage. And people are enslaved, they don't know it.
Just keep holding
They got to
on
get
there. We're
up,
about to bring it up.
first thing, got to go pay the dues to the international bankers. That's all there is to it. And unless you live free a while, you don't know what freedom is. And I've always been self-employed. I picked my job. Most of my jobs was contracts was verbal, it wasn't written. And if it was a misunderstanding, I tried to make it right with it. But the New World Order is coming about, and all it is the international bankers control the world.
Well, that about says it all, Lance. We have about 10 minutes left, and we're gonna let the caller come on because he wanted to say a few more things.
Okay.
Lance.
Yeah.
If you get me on your show, Lance, with my physical presence visualized or kept concealed, I will help you consume a full hour and a half with a multitude of hot topics and information and documentation to back it all up. My topics include anything and everything from the government siege at Waco and the Gray family in Toole, Texas, to light rail CAFRs and City of Austin property taxes and all federal, state, and local taxes. But I will need an answer from you.
Okay, well, listen, all you got to do is...
Here's the thing, caller. What you need to
Are you
do
there,
is
Lance?
what you need to do,
Yeah.
caller, is get your own show down
I know,
here
Mike, but he
to
wants
continue
to.
it on.
I know, but he wants to help me out to kind of get to feel it out and then get it,
Hello?
and then get your. Am I right?
We're always needing help down
Hello,
here.
are you here? Hello,
Hello?
hello, are you there?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
Hold on a second.
Hey, can you hear us? Here, grab the phone.
Should be able to.
Hey, can you hear us? Hello?
Can you hear him?
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hold on, here it is. Try that.
Hello? Hey, are you there?
Are you there?
Is anybody out there?
Yeah, dude, are you there?
Yes.
I said I'd call back after the show.
Why can't he hear us? No.
Are you there, Lance?
Yeah, man, we're here. Just hold on. Why isn't he hearing us?
Well, I don't know if you heard my offer earlier, but if you did, take it seriously because it's the last chance you're
All
going
you have
get
to do is show up, man.
from me.
All you have to
making
do is
such an
show up.
offer.
Can you hear us?
If you're willing to accept such an offer.
Can you see us? I mean, I see us. Here, push.
Hey, are you there?
Oh, do this. Put him back on hold. Go ahead.
Hello, are you there?
Can you hear us?
Hey, there you go. You couldn't hear us? No, Mikey said he couldn't hear us at all.
Well, I don't understand. How come he can't hear us?
All right, well, anyway, if you want to come down and do the show, man, all you have to do is just show up down here.
I gotta fix the end of this now.
Probably about, let's say, anywhere from